Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Whole Wellness Mamas Summit, where we're unlocking the healthiest, joy filled mom in you using strategies from various wellness and parenting experts. I'm Amy Nesbitt, and I am thrilled to have Dr. Jenny Wu with me today to discuss how to be self ish as moms without being selfish. We'll go into that deeper. But Jenny is a Harvard trained educator, cognitive science researcher, executive coach, and mom of three. And she has worked with all kinds of people and situations. She's worked with children and families as a school administrator, college and grad students as an MBA career coach and instructor, as well as new and seasoned employees in the corporate world in Silicon Valley, and with older adults as a cognitive science and memory researcher. And when she's not coaching or teaching in the classrooms or boardrooms, she's even helping people achieve their best selves as a certified personal fitness trainer. I'm super excited to talk to her. And we had some common experiences that made me like Jenny instantly. And she has also created amazing tools for parents. So, welcome, Jenny.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Amy. And hi, everyone who's watching this.
It is such a pleasure to be chatting with you. For those that are meeting you for the first time, can you share your quick story of how you came to where you are now?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's just say I started my career in human capital consulting and then really was going along this nice career path, got the MBA from Berkeley, and started a 3-year leadership rotational program. And lo and behold, we ended up getting pregnant during my first rotation. So that sort of kickstarted my career as in motherhood, really. And this emotional roller coaster, as we know, never ends. And so navigating that roller coaster was really difficult for me. And shortly after, we were pregnant with twins, and so we had 3 kids, under 3, all in diapers. And so, kicking and screaming, not just the kids, really me, I realized something needed to change. So that sort of, I then, negotiated my career, sort of still squatted in this rotational program, but ended up being slightly part-time. And then we moved to Southern California from the Bay Area. Then that became virtual. And this was the year of, I'm dating myself, the year of 2010. So this work-life integration, sort of, I've been negotiating it back then. Um, However, my twins were preemie, and so it was really hard to stay engaged. And so that's when I became a stay-at-home mom. But maybe like many of you, it's hard to sit still. So then I launched a business, Etsy, doing party props and decorations, and that really stemmed out of my own interest. And on the side, I was freelancing, being a contractor mom in the corporate world. But really, in this long-winded story, I'm an educator now and a researcher. So how I got there was again because of my kids. When it was time for them to be enrolled in preschool, the practical me was like, well, we're in Southern California. Tuition times 3 is incredibly expensive. What can I do to hack this? So I ended up getting a role as a Montessori school director. Really, my goal was to, be with the kids, score that free tuition, and really get the lowdown on what exactly is parenting, right? And what do kids learn? And am I doing enough as a mom? Am I even good enough as a mom, right? That question that's always been lingering on my mind. And so from that, I learned a whole lot, but also realized that there was so much more that I thought teachers knew or maybe seasoned parents knew, that what was just not answered. So that inspired me to go to Harvard Graduate School of Education, focusing on developmental cognitive neuroscience, child development, education. And that was really the kickstart of launching these set of card decks to really help not just kids, but parents and teachers and adults in general to build the types of essential skills like emotional intelligence, critical thinking, life skills, Amy, that you have, to be able to be confident, independent, and of course, give us a better time as parents, right? To develop them as grounded, responsible individuals.
Yeah. I think you touched on so many different things, especially as working moms outside the home, I should specify. We have this are we making the right decision? Are we making the right choice of how much time we're spending outside the home versus with the kids? And um, what can you walk us through some of your thought processes and how you kind of grappled with that?
Absolutely. That was top of the mind. I would say this motherhood guilt is constant, right? Every single second or minute that you're not spending with your child, you're wondering, why am I not? Should I, this is my priority, right? And so, on top of that, being Asian American, I think this notion of making sacrifices good, that's what you're supposed to do as a mother, and being selfless is really the epitome of that Pinterest mom, right? Through that lens, I kept on seeing myself like the mom failed this, the mom not good enough that, not doing enough. And so, Amy, I certainly grappled with that. And in fact, I did a TEDx talk around my journey. And just to summarize that, I would say, what really started clicking for me, and it's not one of those like epiphany, one day you're all of a sudden good, right? It's a constant struggle. But I think what really started shifting my mindset was just realizing that, like there's no such thing as normal. Everybody has their own very unique needs and context, and we all know like we may have multiple kids and they're entirely different and they need different things, right? So it's honoring that, I don't have to be like a certain, you know image of a mom, and I don't have to do things exactly by, what to expect when you're having a kid type of, thing, that you so romanticize all the milestones that, you're like, where is it? um so there is no sense of normal. And also, another thing that really helped me in terms of reconciling this guilt is understanding that it's all about quality, not necessarily quantity.
Mhm,
And being a child development researcher, I can tell you that I've worked with stay-at-home moms who have all the time in the world to spend with their child or children who are there, but to be honest, isn't quite there,
mhm,
right? And so, just a quick anecdote, right? I'm busy. Sometimes, I have to travel for work too, and I've always dealt with this guilt where what if I was not there for bedtime stories, or what if I was not there for certain milestones? And then I was at Harvard being a full-time student on top of being mom of three, right? Sometimes we have evening classes.
mhm,
And during that period, there was this research that came out that really talked about how the essence of conversations, having conversations, that back and forth quality servant return, like playing tennis, is way more profoundly impactful and neurobiologically beneficial for a child's development than simply reading to them or even lecturing at them. And so, my first like thought when I saw this was like, yes, it's okay that I never read to my kids like consistently at night. It's gonna be okay, right?
uh-huh,
So these are the things that I sort of trying to say is that, you know, do what's right for you and level set your expectations, knowing that, a good mom is whatever works for your family. And you cannot constantly be that good mom. It's really about maximizing the time that you have with your child, being present, that matters.
yeah. And I love so many things. One of the things that you mentioned is that we're all different, right? And I know I've had so many conversations with friends who some stay home, some do not. And we all kind of go, oh, I wish we could stay home more. But then the moms that do stay home are like, I wish I could go out more, or have some adult time or just think in a different way. And there's always this, oh, I wish it was the other way around. Um, and so it doesn't help to think of it that way, right? And
Right.
we need to figure out what, yeah.
Yeah, let me add on to that. I mean, you totally hit the nail on the head, right? And having been the working mom, the part-time mom, the stay-at-home mom, the freelance, the student mom, now the entrepreneur founder mom, right? The grass is not greener on the other
uh,
side. I can tell you that. And one thing I want to press on this point a little bit more, Amy, is that now, especially for the moms with elementary school age children or even above, or, you know, sometimes we say, since this is about wellness, mom, right? We say that, I want to just put all the time to my kids and I can worry about myself and really devote time and think about myself once they're out of the house, they're older, right? It's always like, it's this like phenomenon where we think we're going to be less busy 6 months later, and that never
For
happens.
the case, yeah.
Or, like once we're empty nested, I think one thing to think about is what is your identity,
Mhm.
right? And that's something I work with parents a lot, mothers, especially helicopter mothers, right? And grappling with, their sense of identity, who they are, and that feeling of being needed by others to define who they are is completely shattered, right? Once the kids leave. And so I would encourage you, it's a necessary step to sort of really confront this motherhood guilt, but also think about the guilt that you may feel for yourself,
Mhm.
right? Once your kids are out of the house.
Absolutely. As you know, I'm a huge fan of developing kids' life skills because one, they need to be able to do these things on their own, right? We are raising future adults, not future children forever. And it actually helps free up our time. And some people are, I think this is your point, that we're scared to not be needed anymore or to not have to do all these things for them. But that's a reflection point, right?
Yeah, and honestly, self-care is overrated, right? You got to do more self-care. You're like, "Oh my God, I'm so busy. When do I even have time? Yet another to-do list I have to write down for self-care." It only stresses you out more. And so that is why, yeah, life skills is essential. And I created the 52 essential life skills. It's not about doing stuff for yourself, but it's about empowering, and I say it jokingly, manpowerment,
Hmm.
right? Or really your partners in general, partners and your child or children, enabling them to care for themselves. And that is a form of true self care for you. And then also building these skills where they can care for you. Right. Delegation, for those who are working, right? That's huge. And if we can start delegating some of the stuff in our households to create that equitable balance, that's also going to help us a lot.
Yeah. But can we talk about that me time or that self-care time? I know we don't want it to become this to-do list, but I know for me it is a non-negotiable. I need to find that time where I find things that bring myself joy, not like, "Oh, let me do something that my kids enjoy," but something for me. Can we talk about that a little bit and how important that is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's for our own sanity. And I'm sure all of us have heard, the term of putting on the oxygen mask first, right? Because let me tell you, we get grumpy, we get resentful, we get bitter when, that's not happening. And especially, I think for me, as a young mom, my partner had no problem self-caring. And, when I look over on a Sunday afternoon and my partner's napping on the couch, what is that boils like my blood, And to be honest, it's more of a sense of, envy, right? To be able to do that because we long for it for so deeply, but yet we take it out on other people for doing the stuff that we actually really want to do. And another thing is we tend to judge other moms, right, for doing that. And so I would say it's important to look within and really respond to our longings and what we're doing. And another tip I have is, sometimes self-care can be intertwined with time with your kids or creatively in such way that you're sort of concurrently doing it together. And so what I mean by that is one self-care that I really started doing is rock climbing. And I absolutely love it. And that's actually because my kids have gravitated toward rock climbing. And instead of being the traditional, like my traditional self, where I bust out my laptop, while they're rock climbing, right, doing some work, answering some emails, or going to a coffee shop, I told myself, you know what? I'm going to learn too. I'm going to have fun like a kid, right? So
Mhm,
nowadays, every time, I need to drop them or take them to rock climbing, that's me time too.
mhm.
And so that really just makes me feel like I'm flourishing.
Oh, I love that. And I know you touched on this before. I'll kind of weave it in this one too, is that when we're just putting off the, "Oh, I'll take care of myself later," when they're out of the house, when they're, the later, 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 it's the same resentment, the same ugly feelings, right, that keep bubbling up of, "Oh, I keep doing things for people, but nobody else is pitching in, or nobody else is picking up the pieces, and if I don't do it, nobody will," which actually isn't true. People are willing to help, people are willing to do the things, but they might not notice right away. Like, I know, at least for me, I'm the one that tends to notice, oh, these things that are the invisible type of tasks. Oh, that's me that I realizes, that needs to be done. And so, I think there's
Mhm.
the communication skills is an essential thing, and I know that's kind of how the cards came to be, right? These essential communication questions, skills, and then it morphed into, I know you have a whole line of cards. I don't know if you want to talk, about all the different pieces that are out there and how it kind of evolved into all the different ones?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna bore you guys. There are 11 decks, but you're so right, Amy. I think for us, the mental load, emotional load we're carrying is huge, right? We're the emotional dumpster, so to speak, for others as well. But yet, it's intangible, it's invisible. So the cards are really designed to help us give ourselves permission and to cultivate that safe and brave space, that context to be able to verbalize what we're experiencing and all the tabs we have open within our heads so that others will know where we're coming from and they will be able to truly hear and understand and respect what we're going through. So that's really the essence. And it starts with having authentic conversation. So that's the 52 essential conversations. But in order to do that, we need the trust, the understanding, and certainly the mediation of conflicts that we're when we're short on fuse or short on time. So that's the 52 essential relationships. So it really builds up on that. Life skills is literally these cards are not just prompts or conversations, they are skill building. So the life skills is literally what I say giving the couch potato swap in our house, or the certain kids who are eye rolling or hesitant, building, equipping them with real skills to do their own laundry, wash the dishes, clean up, tidy up their space, cleaning up after themselves, and so each the deck that you have specifically, for example, are literally like tasks, and we have videos that are made for kids by kids, a QR code where literally nobody has, this is the no excuse game. So you literally QR coding, they're like, I don't know how to do it. Okay, here's a video, literally step by step, kid friendly, and how to do it, right? So whether it's a toddler, well, I've worked as a Montessori school director, so empowering them, or a teenager, right, who's gonna be going in a send away field trip, right? So it's really equipping them with
Yeah.
those essential skills.
I want to touch on this because I started looking at this and I've only had it for a few days, but I'm super excited about it. I need to go print out the bingo cards because there's different ways to use it, but I have an envisioned way. I want to do like a, okay, who can get bingo first kind of a thing. The kids are actually pretty good at helping out around the house, but I pulled out these because these are things that kind of get put last in our home by our children, which is the tidy your space and wipe the table,
Mhm.
because people just kind of go away and like, what? Everybody put their dishes away, but the counter is really dirty. Nobody's noticing this, But now, if it's a game, it's kind of more fun. It's not just me nagging, right? Because nobody wants to be the nagger.
Exactly. It's making our nagging visual, right? And it's there, it's concrete. I think kids need something concrete. So
Mhm.
next time we want to nag, just point to it, right? Or kind of sneakily making it right into a bingo game or a chore game, or, there's different kinds of ways of even earning points and, gamify that kind of thing. So it's whatever works for the household.
Yeah, and I love that you incorporated play into this because I think that is such a huge part of how we should be incorporating different things in, because I think we just are more productive. We react to things better when it is a play thing, when it is also a we thing, not just you need to do this, you need to do this, but did we, who got bingo first or who checked off their items or however you end up using it. I think when it's a more collective as well as a fun thing to do, it just becomes much better.
That's right. I mean, I don't think we've ever envisioned to have that type of quality time through chores,
Yeah.
right? But it can happen. Like you said, it's a collectively, family collective fun event where let's spend, you know, the hour of quality time cleaning up, right? It's a win-win situation.
Or like cooking, like we love cooking together, and I love when the kids come into the kitchen with me, and that's just been a thing since they were small, and I cherish that, and I get to pass on different things to them, hence the YouTube channel that came into play during the pandemic for us. And even cleanup, we do like this 10-minute family cleanup. Like, okay, even if we're going into different rooms, it's just okay, we have 10 minutes. Let's see what we can clean up, and we're not gonna we could keep going, but there's just these things that we said, okay, let's do these things together. And then it becomes more of a routine, more of a just responsibility that we all have. So
Yeah, exactly. Building good habits and routines.
yeah, yeah. So for the moms who are out here thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start, um, do you have a suggestion for people to find find the time for themselves as well as connecting?
Yeah, it could be so incredibly overwhelming and daunting of not knowing where to start, right? But I would say keep it as simple as you can and minimal. Don't overwhelm yourself. It could just be, if we're talking about self-care, really 5 minutes. Like, mommy needs to step away, right? I'm gonna get some fresh air, or I'll take a 10-minute walk, that kind of thing, right? So, um, don't have these grandiose like expectations and goals. In this sense, let's just do it. you
Yes.
know and it is hard to create a habit, right? So be flexible. But I would also say the practice of gratitude, which I also have a dad gratitude attitude, is also really important. And just wiring yourself to see the goodness in yourself and what you've done, and also in those around you. I think having sort of that attitude, I'm not trying to be toxically positive because I don't believe in that, but just having that type of perspective is really important.
Yeah, we so pick on ourselves on all the things that we don't do right, right? But we're doing so much that is good, that is going right. We just need to identify those, see those, and I love the fact that you are pointing out each mom is different. Don't judge how other people do it. Don't go to Pinterest or social media and highlight reels of how people are doing things, right? Um, I also love having these summits because there are so many people that speak to different parts of people, right? So if I don't know, everybody has something that they can take away and put into action and learn in different ways. So
Yeah, and I have to say, do what's right for you. Take everything we say with a grain of salt, whatever works for you. And sometimes attending conferences and summits, you hear collectively all these knowledge and you're like, I need to do this, like it gets again overwhelming. So just pick something, something little to start with.
well, that brings me to a great segue because I always like to end our discussions with a quick, tangible action that our moms can take so that they're not overwhelmed by everything that they've heard, but they can start taking action because that's where change happens, right? Do you have a action or challenge of the day for our moms?
I do. So this one is a card I'll share with you coming out of the 52 Essential Conversations deck. And I think this is pretty important. It's one of my favorite, which is on the topic of dignity. And I think sometimes and we feel indignant by many, many different things that are caused by self-sabotaging or those around us. And I would say that, one of the first question is name three things that make you who you are,
Mm,
and no one can take them away from you.
mhm,
So dignity, your identity, your non-negotiables. So and the context of, knowing what you need, right? Start identifying three things that you absolutely need to be happy, to feel fulfilled, and to feel whole, to feel like yourself,
mhm,
right? And write that down and see if you can spend, 5 minutes on one or three of these things to really get back in touch to yourself. And also, bonus points, to communicate that
mhm.
with the important people in your life.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. The communicate part. I know it's bonus points, but it is huge, right? To get people on board and say, this is really important to me. I'd like to make space for it. How can we find time for this? And also, what is important to you, to the other people, right? Whether it's our partner or whoever's helping us with our kids or whatever. I love that. So I know you also have a fantastic freebie for everyone. Can you share what that is?
Sure. So I know a lot of the times a lot of angsty type of anxious driven really come out of how our kids are doing, right? Are they at their level, the milestones, the grade levels, and all that craziness, right? And so I'm sharing a freebie, which is literally a grade by grade life skills, social skills checklist. So it's by the school standards and it's by grade, so that maybe if we're thinking, do we need to sign up for Kumon? Do we need to do this? Do we need to do the extracurriculars that all of us are just like a ball of mess, right? Just refer to the by the grade checklist, and maybe that will calm us down. So you can find this freebie on my website, which is mindbrainemotion.com/social skills.
Perfect. And here's where I get to announce that Jenny is partnering with me to do a giveaway to one lucky person for a deck of your choice from her amazing deck of tools. And so we're going to be posting in the Facebook group um, the giveaway post and what you need to do. But I mean, it's pretty simple. Just engage with us, post your comments there, and one lucky person is going to be chosen. And then we'll reach out to you. We'll get everything going. Anything else you want to share with our mamas before we wrap up, Jenny?
No one's perfect, right? We're all walking in our journey. You got this. Let me know how you're doing. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook, which is Mind Brain Parenting. And then the website also has a ton of other free resources. So mindbrainemotion.com. And the decks can also be found on Amazon.
Perfect. And we'll have all the links so that you can grab these tools because they are really, really helpful. I've only looked at one and I'm going to go look at the rest of them. So go check those out. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing your wealth of mom experience with us and tools that will help us connect better. And remember, mamas, if you upgrade to that VIP pass, you get to keep all of these videos so you can keep coming back and listening and taking tidbits away. I know I take different things away when I re-listen to things. Plus, you get not explosive, exclusive bonuses from our fabulous speakers. And as always, drop your questions in the Facebook group. We want to get your questions answered. And tell us how your challenge went, and we'll see you back for more amazing summit speakers.